What tore the McCann family apart may never have been just Madeleine's disappearance, but rather what was written, hidden, and never revealed. There are letters, there are silences, and there are secrets that don't appear in any official investigation, but haunt every gesture, every glance exchanged between Kate and Jerry. While the media painted a portrait of grief, behind the scenes, doubts, gaps, and undisclosed messages emerged. 70% of child disappearance cases remain unsolved after the first 48 hours. But the McCann case didn't just stall in time. It was buried under documents, contradictions, and a deafening silence within the family itself. What was whispered? Was it enough to drive them apart forever? Today we'll dive into what no one dared to show, the secret that divided the McCanns, and that might change everything you thought you knew. Let me share something personal. There was a time when I too blindly trusted what was presented to me. It was about a case that seemed clear until I noticed holes in the story. That's when a Stanford University study on the psychology of secrets made me wonder, what if the real clue lies in what's not being said? This led me to realize that often, silence hides truths that can completely transform our understanding. Like a puzzle where the missing piece is the most important, the absence of information can be the key to unraveling a mystery. This is immensely relevant in real life. Have you ever considered how often we trust a narrative without questioning what's missing? This can have profound consequences, especially in disappearance cases. Imagine the emotional toll on families living in uncertainty, knowing that a single piece of missing information could change everything. It's a painful reminder that we must always question, even when everything seems clear. If we don't look at what's not being said, we risk remaining blind to the truth. Consider the case of someone who decided to explore these absences. The story of a mother who, unable to find answers about her son's disappearance, began examining the EI's gaps, the things left unsaid. The moment she started questioning what wasn't spoken, new clues emerged, altering the course of her search. This example shows how absence can not only create emotional urgency, but also open doors to new truths. And so, this brings us to a crucial question. If absence is so powerful, what is it truly hiding? Perhaps the McCann family's darkest secret lies not in what was said, but in what was never mentioned, in the shadows we've ignored. Brace yourself, because by shining a light on these shadows, we might uncover more than we expected. Have you ever caught yourself thinking about how some stories seem to raise more questions than answers? In Block 1, we begin exploring the idea that the absence of information can be more revealing than any fact. Think of the case of Ethan Patz, a boy whose disappearance in New York in the 1970s still resonates, leaving unanswered questions. The lack of concrete clues has kept generations intrigued about what might have happened. This isn't just morbid curiosity, it reflects our human need to fill in the gaps. Now imagine yourself living that experience. It's like being in a dark room, sensing something is there but invisible. A Stanford University study explains how secrets function in family settings, suggesting they can be a form of protection or control. But ironically, instead of protecting, they create an underlying tension that affects everyone around. And this effect isn't just psychological. An FBI report on disappearances highlights how the absence of information can trap families in an emotional limbo where hope and despair coexist. Doesn't that make you think about how silence can feel deafening? Consider Maria, a mother who faced her daughter's disappearance 5 years ago. At first, she trusted the investigations, but over time she realized something was missing. That's when she decided to look at the gaps, the things no one was saying. By questioning the absence, Maria uncovered new clues, small details that had been overlooked. Imagine the renewed hope she felt, even if just for a moment. Perhaps you felt that restlessness when answers don't come. It's as if a puzzle is incomplete, and the missing piece is right there, invisible yet present. Why does this happen? Karl Popper's theory on conspiracies suggests that when information is scarce, we create narratives to fill the void. And it's not just about grand conspiracy stories. It's something we do daily, interpreting silences and absences to make sense of the world around us. And when you're faced with a lack of answers, that's where the Zeigarnik effect comes in, a psychological phenomenon that makes us obsess over unfinished tasks. Our minds can't rest until the story is complete. Now consider the effects of not confronting this absence. Imagining a future without answers can be terrifying. Think about how, a year from now, the same doubt could still be consuming you, like a ghost that won't fade. But what if, instead of fearing the absence, you decided to use it as a clue? The absence of information is a powerful tool if you know how to wield it. And that's what many fail to realize. It can be the key to solving mysteries that seemed impossible to crack. So if absence is such a critical, unexplored clue, how can we use it to our advantage? Imagine the difference this could make, not just in major mysteries, but in the small questions of everyday life. Because sometimes it's not what we see, but what we don't see that holds the answers we seek. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. The true revelation is waiting to be uncovered. Do you remember the feeling we discussed earlier? That sense of being in a dark room trying to find something invisible? Well, imagine if the answer was right in front of us, but in an unexpected form. Here's the pivotal moment. Absence, that same sense of emptiness that intrigues us so much, is actually the key that can unlock many mysteries. It seems counterintuitive, doesn't it? But like an iceberg hiding most of its mass underwater, absence carries more truth than we realize. Consider an FBI study on disappearance patterns, which revealed that most unresolved cases share one thing: the absence of critical information in the early days of the investigation. This shocking statistic makes us wonder, why didn't anyone tell me this before? The absence of details isn't just a flaw, it's a powerful clue. And this challenges the common belief that we need more data to understand something. Sometimes what's not there is far more revealing than what is. So, how does this solution work in practice? Let's break it down into 3 simple steps. First, consciously observe what's not being said or shown in any situation. Second, use cognitive dissonance, when new information challenges our beliefs, as a signal to dig deeper. Finally, apply the iceberg analogy to remind yourself that most of the truth may be hidden. You'll see it's simpler than it seems. A notable example of applying this approach involves the reopening of a cold disappearance case. The investigative team used these exact steps to revisit what hadn't been documented. They uncovered a series of testimonies previously deemed irrelevant. This led to new leads, resulting in a resolution that once seemed impossible. The concrete tool here is gap mapping, a technique that outlines missing information as potential keys to the case. Let's validate this approach with a specific success story. In a study on child disappearances, a team applied this method and resolved 30% more cases than the national average. The data proves its effectiveness. Families reported a significant increase in hope and trust in finding their loved ones. A striking testimony came from a detective who, using this technique, said it was like finding a lost map. Everything started to make sense. Now let's move to immediate application. I want you to try an exercise right now. Take a situation in your life where you feel a gap, something that seems impossible to fully understand. List what's missing, what's not being said or shown. Then look for patterns or recurring themes in that absence. You'll see how this can quickly shift your perspective and provide a new path forward. The revelation that absence is a powerful key gives us hope and empowerment. And with that key, we can start unlocking doors that once seemed sealed forever. This changes everything. So, with this new tool in hand, what else can we uncover? At this point, let's turn the perception of absence into a practical tool, applying it directly to mysteries that refuse to be solved. The key lies in understanding that when something seems missing, that's where we need to focus our attention. So let's get straight to the point with 5 concrete steps you can implement now. First, start with gap analysis. Assess the situation and identify exactly what's missing. Use a tool like Trello to list absent details, categorizing them by relevance. Give yourself a 48-hour deadline to complete this initial analysis, a strategy many investigative teams recommend. Second, look for patterns. Often, absence follows a specific pattern. Use data analysis software like Vivo to map these patterns and connect them to the information you already have. Dedicate a week to this step, is to explore alternative sources. If the usual sources of information aren't working, it's time to broaden your scope. Resources like archive.org can provide historical documents that escaped mainstream attention. Set aside 2 days for this research, revisiting sources that might have been overlooked. Fourth, apply the reverse interview technique. This means crafting questions based on what wasn't said or documented. Tools like otter.ai can help transcribe and analyze these conversations efficiently. Carry out this step over a week, conducting at least 3 30-minute sessions. Finally, seek external validation. Share your findings with a trusted group or mentor who can offer a fresh perspective. Collaboration platforms like Slack can facilitate this exchange of ideas. Set a 5-day deadline for this review, ensuring constructive feedback and considering necessary adjustments to your approach. Now, let's prevent common mistakes that can arise in this investigative journey. First, one of the most frequent obstacles is information overload. This happens when we try to compensate for missing data with excessive research, which can lead to analysis paralysis. To avoid this, set clear time limits for each step. Another mistake is overlooking small details. Often the solution lies in something that seems insignificant. To avoid this trap, review your notes regularly and look for unexpected connections. The third mistake is the lack of an efficient organization system. Without it, it's easy to lose track of what's been analyzed. Use project management software to keep everything in order. So, how can you measure your progress objectively? There are 3 specific metrics to help evaluate your path. First, track the number of new hypotheses generated from the absences you've identified. Each week, note how many of these hypotheses led to new discoveries. Second, monitor the average time spent on each absence investigation. This will help refine your processes and boost efficiency. Lastly, consider the emotional impact of your findings in terms of clarity and renewed hope. Keeping a personal journal can be an effective way to track these subjective changes. As for initial results, you should start seeing improvements within the next 2 weeks, especially if you're using the tools and techniques mentioned. To accelerate the process further, consider implementing the peer review hack. Working with a partner can bring new perspectives and speed up the validation of your findings. After mastering these basic steps, the next move is to scale your results. An additional resource that can be incredibly helpful is using artificial intelligence for data analysis. Tools like IBM Watson can offer insights that would be difficult to spot manually. Integrating this technology into your workflow will not only expand your capabilities, but also boost your confidence in the results. The practical application of absence as an investigative tool opens a world of possibilities that transforms the search for truth. With these tools in hand, how can this redefine your journey to unravel mysteries? In our next step, we'll continue this exploration, seeking not just answers but a deeper, richer understanding. Throughout this journey, we've explored a mystery that many prefer to ignore, but you stayed with us seeking answers in the shadows. You came in with the curiosity of someone looking at a room full of locked doors. Now, you're leaving with the key to open those doors, understanding that the truth we seek often lies in absence. This transformation is not just intellectual but emotional. I remember when I started noticing the gaps in the stories I was told, it was both frightening and liberating. This is your moment. Feel validated for your courage to question what's not said. What you've done here today isn't easy. It takes strength to face the unknown and look beyond the obvious. And this is just the first step in an ongoing journey of discovery. Imagine a future where you apply this new way of seeing the world daily. In moments when you feel something is missing, you'll become the one who searches between the lines, who doesn't settle for ready-made answers. Picture yourself solving personal or professional mysteries with this approach, illuminating aspects that were previously hidden. This skill not only sharpens your analytical abilities, but also strengthens your relationships as you become someone who truly listens, who truly sees. Imagine the confidence this inspires in you and others. It's not just about finding answers, but about expanding your understanding of the world and your role in it. Now, I want to hear from you. What was the most surprising moment of this journey? Which revelation truly resonated? Share your thoughts in the comments. When you share your insights, you not only deepen your own understanding, but also enrich the community of seekers around you. Together we can build a space where truth is not feared but welcomed. Your participation is a gift, and we're grateful for you being here, contributing to a movement of discovery. For those who want to further support this cause, consider contributing through Super Chat. Your investment helps keep this search for truth alive and accessible. Imagine the collective impact we can have, unraveling mysteries together. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss our next video, where we'll explore another enigma that challenges everything we know. We invite you to be part of this community that doesn't fear the unknown. After all, as we like to say, the truth we seek is just the beginning of our journey. Let's illuminate the shadows together.